Hello horror hounds, the nights are really drawing in now, and as we wave goodbye to Occultober, our month of occult themed movie reviews, we can usher in, see what I did there, a new theme for November, which is Pvember. This is like putting on a comfy blanket. For me, Edgar Allan Poe is absolutely the greatest. I adore his writing. I think the man was a genius, a tortured genius for sure, but he walked it like he talked it. So, film adaptations of the works of Edgar Allan Poe. I'm fully aware that most adaptations of his work, most film versions of his work, bear a loose, a glancing nod towards his actual literary work. And some of them are a mishmash of various of his short stories and the like. It doesn't matter. It's all part of the fun. It means we're going to be spending a lot of time with an actor that I haven't spent much time on this channel yet. So whilst we luxuriate in the presence of the Dark Master, Poe, we will also be basking in the company of the great Vincent Price. To kick off the whole month, I thought it would probably be apposite to do something that was, I would say, lesser known of Price's work and probably much more on the nose accurate representation of Poe's work than we will see later on in the month. So to that end, we are going to kick off Pvember with An Evening of Edgar Allan Poe. The great news I have is that it is available in its entirety to watch on YouTube, so I will link to it in the description field below and enjoy. It's a made-for-TV special from 1970, AIP, I believe, so the picture quality is not that great. It won't be that great on YouTube, it's not that great on the DVD. It's taken from VHS recordings, I think, something along those lines. It's certainly VHS quality. But for 53 minutes, you get Vincent Price alone, reciting, reenacting, really, 4 of Poe's stories. The Telltale Heart, The Sphinx, The Cask of Amontillado, and The Pit and the Pendulum. This is as close as you will get to seeing Price on stage. This is as close as we will get now to seeing him perform a one-man show. Some of the works are abridged, but essentially Price is reciting these stories. Now, one of Poe's literary devices would have been the monologue, the internal workings, the thinkings. So transposing it into this sort of one-man stage format actually works really well. So although for definite The Pit and the Pendulum is slightly abridged, I can't promise you that all the stories are completely unabridged. But what you're getting is the quintessential Poe actor reciting and reenacting for you 4 scenes, if you like, using Poe's actual words. And do you know what? On paper, it kind of sounds a little ho-hum. If you've got a love for Poe, if you've got a love for Vincent Price, I've got to be honest with you, it is mesmerizing. Absolutely mesmerizing. 4 stories, 4 different sets, but made up to look like stage sets. So you do feel like you're in the theatre, but each set appropriate for the setting of the story, and each character that Price adopts appropriate for the narrator of that story. There's very little influence by the director, Kenneth Johnson, which I think is right. A light touch, a deft touch from the director, just occasionally changing to close up, occasionally coming to a different camera angle. Occasionally he'll do a little bit of video trickery, but that's fine. It's all really very subtle, and it's all driven towards capturing Price's performance. Vincent Price, a man who is accused more often than not of hammy acting, really gets to show you his chops here. I maintain that yes, sometimes he hams it up, but only when appropriate, never to the detriment of the story he's telling, the scene he's in, or the film he's in. I think it's all part of Vincent Price's delicious dark scene of humour that he brings to performances as and when necessary. I mean, don't tell me that the Dr. Phibes movies aren't supposed to be funny, because they are. And at the centre of all of that madness is Vincent Price as Anton Phibes. Maybe we'll talk about the Phibes movies some other time, but don't get me started about a guy who is essentially wearing a mask of his own face over his face, so can only act through body movements, the movement of his Adam's apple, and his voice. Don't tell me that Vincent Price is not an amazing actor. And here in this, An Evening of Edgar Allan Poe, you will see that on display, basically as naked, in inverted commas, as an actor can get performance-wise. One man, one stage, a couple of cameras, and nothing but Poe's words and Vincent Price as the instrument through which those words move. Can you really ask for anything more than that? Everyone has their favourite Poe story, and just like a rock and roll band that's been going for decades, you go to see them and there are certain songs that you want to see. Not everyone will be happy with the stories chosen for this. It's such a delight to have it, to be able to watch it, that I think such criticisms are, on the whole, churlish. And if I'm going to be churlish, I think perhaps The Pit and the Pendulum, even though that's definitely abridged, because there are scenes I remember from the story that aren't in this recitation, that does seem to go on a little too long. The director uses much more camera trickery in that than he does in the other three. But honestly, you've got Vincent Price reciting The Pit and the Pendulum. Is that really as bad as bad as it can get? My God, I mean, if you're technically minded, I guess you can take the video from YouTube, and as bad as the picture quality is, and there's nothing we can do about that, you can strip out the audio, and then you've got Vincent Price reciting 4 Edgar Allan Poe stories for you. And he presents 4 distinct individual characters appropriate to the story. The Telltale Heart is amazing to kick off with, and leaves me spellbound. The third one, The Cask of Amontillado, is that character is glorious, and the way he tells that story. The original broadcast itself, I guess, it was broken up by adverts and the like. It might, even though it runs at a fair clip, it's only 52 minutes long. It might be good to just taste these rather than down the whole draft. So pace it out. I would suggest, to get the best enjoyment out of it. Maybe that's why I was thinking Pit and the Pendulum was dragging towards the end. But maybe if I'd have paced them out and given each one the attention it deserves. So you can watch a story a night for the next 4 nights, or just blast through the whole lot. But it's kind of little known, I think, this, and it, like I say, freely available here. I will link to it, and I think starting with Poe's actual words and Price at his most stripped down and at his best is absolutely the best way I can think of to kick off Pvember. And next, because it's on the flip side of the disc, we will be looking at the Tomb of Ligeia,